after that amazing tag team encounter Disco Machine, we have a match that is built almost entirely on bad blood.
Well, Christopher Daniels and Homicide, no strangers in the ring, not here in PWG, but in TNA Wrestling. But here they are, ready to throw down, and Christopher Daniels has that look in his eye that he wants to extract some revenge.
A very, very murderous look, and Christopher Daniels actually making his return to PWG here on All-Star Weekend 4. Daniels been absent for quite some time, and in that time actually gained the TNA tag titles with AJ Styles, lost them to Homicide and Hustler Fernandez, then regained the tag titles, and lost them again to Homicide and Hustler Fernandez. And so, there is quite a bit of history between these two men, a very, very bloody feud between these two individuals. And it's just a matter of time before it erupts. I'm not sure what kind of match to it.
Well, Homicide, as you say that.
Homicide just jumping the gun, getting right on top of Christopher Daniels. Rick Knox trying to separate these two men, but Homicide not even paying attention, just throwing in some hard right hands to the side of Daniels' head. Now Daniels taking Homicide down on the apron, firing in shots of his own onto the ribs and midsection of Homicide, but Homicide is just going all out on Christopher Daniels early on in this match.
That's right, and the fans at ringside not anywhere to go right here. These two men, wow, big elbow right there to the face of Homicide, and now they're taking it all the way to the bar back here. It is a barroom brawl at this point. Now, going to hit his head on
Homicide and Daniels just battling, trying to slam each other's heads on the bar top. I'm not sure who is overserved here, but these two men are definitely angry at one another, and it didn't require too many drinks to get this kind of reaction.
Right. Oh, it was very volatile, and referee Rick Knox trying to gain some order right here. A suplex into the chair.
Homicide just suplexed into the second row of chairs by Christopher Daniels outside on the floor.
Wow. And now Christopher Daniels getting the upper hand right here, gonna throw Homicide. No, he's actually taking him to the post right here. A big elbow.
He's got him set up against the ring post, and Homicide moves out of the way. Christopher Daniels just elbows the ring post. And Homicide smashing Daniels with a chair. And this match, I believe, may be the first match in PWG history to be posthumously declared a no disqualification match.
Yes, exactly. And no action has been in the ring. It's been all around the ring, and referee Rick Knox still trying to get order in there. A suplex coming up by Homicide, but Christopher Daniels blocks it, and now Christopher Daniels hoisting Homicide up, has him upside down.
He's got him stuck in the ropes, and what is this? Homicide just stuck upside down in the ropes. Daniels, chair and Homicide right in the face.
Unceremoniously right to the face. Homicide begging off, and Christopher Daniels getting the adulation from the fans here.
Not something you usually see from Christopher Daniels, but I think he's ready to return in kind to Homicide. He said, "You hit me with the chair, I'll hit you right back. You hit me with an elbow, I'll hit you right back." And these two men just going at it like wild dogs over a fan belt on the floor. Disco Machine.
And Homicide now putting Christopher Daniels in the ring. First time we've been in the ring. Homicide throwing the chair in, a la Terry Funk. But now going to the top. And
Daniels saw him coming, went to hit Homicide with a chair. Homicide, though, sweeping out the legs of Christopher Daniels and returning back to the floor. I think Rick Knox had a sigh of relief when he saw Daniels in the ring. But now both men back out on the floor, firing shots at one another, and Rick Knox unable to control either man in this match.
Nothing has gone in the ring. This is not going to be a technical encounter, it appears. Christopher Daniels, big headbutt, might have paid the price for that one. Breaking the count right there. This is just nuts.
Homicide, the thing about this match is, thus far in the evening we've just seen straight wrestling, pure wrestling matches, and this is the first brawl. But I think this is the first match we've seen on PWG's All-Star Weekend 4 that had any degree of bad blood in it. And later tonight, Homicide cut off on the tope by a hard shot by Christopher Daniels, a hard right hand to the side of the head. But we were talking about bad blood. Later on in the evening, Davey Richards and Roderick Strong will challenge PWG World Tag Team Champions Super Dragon and B-Boy. The next T plunges Christopher Daniels off the apron to the floor. An ode to Cactus Jack, an homage, if you will. And Homicide, you can see wincing in pain as Daniels drops the elbow across Homicide's throat.
Well, Cactus Jack isn't wrestling too many matches with maneuvers like that, but Christopher Daniels laying it all on the line, putting his body on the line, really paying the price. But against Homicide, it doesn't matter. He wants to extract some revenge. And now, finally, back in the ring. Are we going to see a wrestling match, Excalibur?
We could. Our wrestling match broke out at this fight. And now Christopher Daniels, beautiful leg lariat taking Homicide down, hooks the leg and covers deep. 2 count only as Homicide is able to kick out.
Wow. And
Homicide may have lost a tooth on that leg lariat.
Possibly. But I think it's if he were to get the victory here, a tooth would be, it wouldn't really matter. You got a lot of teeth.
A good price to pay for a victory over Christopher Daniels here in PWG. And Daniels taking him to 2 of the 4 corners, and now could be taking him to the 3rd. Homicide getting an intimate view of the top turnbuckle here in PWG.
As we see, Christopher Daniels still clutching that leg after that elbow drop. Now John with some fans at ringside, he may have clearly lost his focus. You don't want to do that against Homicide.
Not for 1 second. You take your eyes off Homicide, he could come back with a fork and just stab you repeatedly in the head.
That would be horrible.
We saw him do it at Battle of Los Angeles to, I believe, Mark Briscoe. Homicide gouging the eyes of Christopher Daniels. Now swinging DDT drives Daniels down to the mat.
Rolling Christopher Daniels over 1, 2 count only. Can you imagine? Rick Knox had to check. Does he have a fork in there?
Homicide has been known to hide many dangerous and deadly implements about his person. Actually, going back to his days from growing up in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section of Brooklyn, New York, a very rough and tumble section. But Homicide picking up quite a bit of his wrestling ability on the streets of Brooklyn. And so it's not Christopher Daniels. No matter how many times he faces Homicide, he's never in for a standard technical wrestling match.
Well, that's an indictment on Rick Knox's refereeing ability. We may have to find him.
I think it's a compliment to Homicide's ability. Imagine how many police officers, how many bouncers Homicide has been patted down by in the past. And you would think by now some 28 years later he'd be able to know where the authorities are going to look for a weapon on his person and know how to
get around that.
Yeah,
for sure. Now Homicide taking Christopher Daniels.
Kind of pull to the rope. Daniels getting a face first view of the top turnbuckle here, and now Homicide going to work, gouging the eyes again of Christopher Daniels, trying to impair the vision of the fallen angel. But now what is this? Homicide trying to break the fingers of Daniels. Rick Knox unable to pull Homicide off. Just the relentless Rottweiler-like attack by Homicide on Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels fighting back though, but the air clap right there.
The air clap.
Stops all that.
And Colt Cabana used that move earlier in the night, and he won in his match against P.D. Williams. Could Homicide come away with the victory due to the ear clap here?
Possibly. Sunset flip, but Homicide 2 lies. Clothesline right there. Homicide back on top of Christopher Daniels. Just unbelievable action right here. And earlier we saw a fan handing a chair to ringside. They want to see this carnage continue.
But Rick Knox wisely taking that chair away from Homicide, throwing it out of the ring, and Rick Knox trying to restore order, almost as if to say, I don't care what you guys do on the floor, but within these 4 corners, this ring is mine.
That's right. I mean, as intense as this action is, the fans actually goading more violence. Possibly they could hand a fork up to Homicide, possibly Christopher Daniels. A knife, possibly.
Now Homicide looks could be going for a powerbomb or a pile driver here off of the ring apron on Christopher Daniels. And now Daniels, you can see hooking his leg on the bottom rope preventing the Homicide from lifting him up. Now Daniels throwing Homicide over the top rope back into the ring. Probably the safest and wisest thing he could have done at this juncture.
Well, still came in awkwardly, but Homicide shakes it off, comes right back on Christopher Daniels. This is dangerous right here. Oh, look at this.
Draping Daniels over the top rope. Those hammering blows to the chest of Daniels, trying to drive the oxygen out of his lungs, trying to impair Daniels' ability to breathe and keep him from utilizing his speed and his I don't want to say superior technical wrestling ability, but I mean he does have a slight advantage in that department over Homicide, and without being able to breathe, all of that means nothing. And Homicide is just in control of this match.
Well, as good as a wrestler as Christopher Daniels is, I believe that Homicide would get the upper hand in street fighting, which that's what this is.
This match is, it just shifts between it just changes its colors from a street fight to a wrestling match. Right now it's back in a wrestling match, but at any moment it could break down into a bloodthirsty street fight between these two men.
Rick Knox right there to see if Christopher Daniels gives up.
And the crowd seems to be split 50-50. They don't want to see Daniels give up, and Daniels, as Rick Knox went to drop his arm, holding it up on the third try, and now Daniels appears to be coming back, Disco.
That's right. Oh, big elbow to the midsection, a second one, a third one, fourth, fifth, now off the ropes, Homicide,
over the top, belly-to-belly suplex, driving the Fallen Angels into the mat. You can see him clutching the back of his head and neck as Homicide covers, hooks the leg. 2 count only, says Rick Knox. But Homicide, he is known to break out a wrestling maneuver or two in a street fight. I mean, imagine if he broke out a belly-to-belly suplex in a street fight. Well, what would happen to the person he delivered it to if they landed like Christopher Daniels did on the concrete?
That's right, and Homicide is no slouch in the wrestling ring, wrestling-wise. Big suplex right there. Now floats it over. Is he going to go for another one? Yes, he does. And now, what could this be?
Could be the
third one? Yes.
Up and over the top. Daniels driven down 3 times, and Homicide, a bit of an homage to the late great Eddie Guerrero. And Homicide, the fans appreciate number 1 Homicide, and number 2 the contributions of Eddie Guerrero to the wrestling world. I believe it was shortly before PWG's second All-Star Weekend, a little over a year ago, that Eddie Guerrero passed away. And now Homicide coming up with nothing as Christopher Daniels moved out of the way of the diving headbutt, and Daniels seems to maybe have caught his second win, or just perhaps on instinct alone rolled out of the way of the diving headbutt by Homicide.
That's right. I mean, the tribute going for that frog splash right there, it kind of backfired on him. Now a 2 clothesline for Christopher Daniels, whipping Homicide off the ropes, and now going for the big back body drop.
Up and over the top goes Homicide, and Daniels STO just drives him down into the mat, and he could be going. This is usually the setup for the best moonsault ever, the BME, but instead Daniels puts on the lateral press, covers. 2 count only, says Rick Knox.
That's how intense that Christopher Daniels, he wanted the pin right away to put down Homicide. Now whipping him to the corner, rushes in, the knee to the top turnbuckle.
Homicide rebounds off the ropes with a huge lariat, taking Daniels down. Covers with only a 2 count again. Homicide, you could see almost a look of desperation on his face as I think he wasn't expecting as much fight out of Christopher Daniels as he's gotten. He jumped him right at the very beginning of this match, and now going for the top killer. But I think Homicide expected this match to be over if he were able to surprise Christopher Daniels. But Daniels, you could see widening out his legs, getting a wide vertical stance, and now springing himself up and over the top of Homicide. Homicide goes behind Christopher Daniels. Daniels up and over the top with the back body, or excuse me, the back suplex. Homicide holds onto the rope. The counter roll, finding nothing for Daniels, and the Homicide with that ace crusher drives Daniels down. 2 count only as Daniels able to kick out.
Just that close. It was almost done, and Homicide questioning Rick Knox about his count.
But to Rick Knox's credit, I believe he has stayed consistent this entire match with the 3 counts.
And very lenient as well.
Letting this match go all over the building from the bar to the stage. And now Daniels, you can see, just sucking in wind from from Homicide. Brutal attack, trying to regain some sort of composure, some sort of fight to fend off this attack by Homicide. Now Daniels, again, the Uranage suplex, or excuse me, not a suplex, the Uranage is driving Homicide down and has now set him up for the best moonsault ever. But Daniels a bit slow to get over there. Homicide having a bit of time to recover, and now latching onto the ankle of Christopher Daniels. Again latching on, but Daniels with those back kicks to the side of the Homicide's head, springing up to the top. Homicide sweeping out the leg of Daniels. Daniels landing face first or possibly throat first on the top turnbuckle, and now Homicide hoisting Daniels up to the top rope. Daniels inside the cravat, locked on by Homicide. Oh, that's usually the setup for the H Crusher off the middle rope. Daniels rolls through with the sunset flip. What is this? Homicide with a deep cover.
Oh, he got
deep cover, and Homicide comes away with a huge victory here over Christopher Daniels, rolling him up. He may have had a handful of trucks, Disco Machine, but either way, Homicide coming away with a victory here tonight.
Obviously, I'm not really happy about what just happened, but I want to take this opportunity to thank the fans of PWG for welcoming me back into their room. Having said that, let me start a clip again with this piece of shit.